Hi, all fine, safe, sound. Had your morning exercise or not? Right? Okay, we'll see whether all this you have been practicing or not when you come back and find out your body structures, and we will do all that. Okay. Proceeding further with the lesson solutions. And yesterday I said what are all the mistakes that you should not commit. First, that you keep in mind. So, keeping that in mind, we will go ahead. Again, let us start with a question from my side, as usual. Now, if I ask, where are we? Now, don't tell I am in universe and all, that is all over. We are in solutions, we are discussing solutions. So, while discussing about solutions, we know it is a homogeneous mixture, and before that we have talked about pure substances, impure substances. Pure can be element, compound, impure can be homogeneous, heterogeneous. Homogeneous we will call it solution. Now, if I give you two beakers with liquids in that, both look like water. I repeat, both look like water. And certainly I am telling, both are not water. One of them is water, other one is something mixed in that. Suppose I have put sugar into one of them and other one only plain water, pure water. How will you find out whether it is pure water or water mixed with sugar? Now you will immediately say that, yes sir, it is very easy. This is with sugar, this is no taste water. But one thing which I had already explained in the classroom earlier, if I have to tell that it is a sugar solution or salt solution, one thing which I should not do is taste and tell no. There are other ways to prove it. Why? That also you know. Suppose that sugar which I have put or some other substance that I have put in that, if it is poisonous, by the time you want to say this is the taste of it or this is a solution, right, we will not be in the classroom, right, we will be landing up in MI room. So, don't plan to taste and tell what is asked. So, there are other ways to tell. What are the other ways? We know they have the physical constants. What are the physical constants that you can cross check? If it is a liquid, you can think of its vapor pressure, boiling point, freezing point, density. There are so many ways to find out. Right? You need not taste. No, you should not taste to tell what is that which is given to me. So, now how to find out whether out of these two which are given to me, one is what, other one is not? As I just said now, it is check its density, check its vapor pressure, check its boiling point, check its freezing point, then of course tell. Is it clear? So, now out of the two beakers that are given to me, you take one of them, find out what are the physical constants of it. Take the other contents, other liquid, find out what are its physical constants. You leave them and go away and forget for few days. When you come back and see, certainly the volume of the liquid in the beakers have reduced. Now, to tell whether it is pure or impure, how to find? Repeat the same thing for both of them. Again find out what are its freezing points, vapor pressure, density, all that for both of them. And when you do it for one of them, you get the same results as earlier. For the other one, results are not same. What can be the reason? The reason is, other one where it is a solution, evaporation of liquid has taken place. Other one also evaporation has taken place, but one where evaporation has taken place, what that has resulted in. So, if evaporation of the liquid component, solvent has gone out, so what will that lead to? That will lead to change in its molarity, change in its mole fraction, change in its density, change in its vapor pressure. Find out like this, and then of course you would certainly tell, sir, one of these two, it is same thing I am getting, for the other one the values are different. After you find out, leave it for some more days, come back, repeat same thing. Now you tell, sir, for the first, for one of them, right, even after I repeat day after it is same. For the other one, each day it is changing. Each day it is changing. That means there is some problem in that. There is no problem in that. You tell that it is a solution. So, what is that now? If I have to make a statement, both look like pure water, but for one of them, property is changing, physical constants are changing. Physical constants are changing, that is the solution. Physical constants change for what? Physical constants change for solutions. So, physical properties, if they are changing, it is depending on the composition of it. So, composition changes, physical constants change for solution. And this property of solution which changes with time, physical constants which change with time for a given amount of liquid, we call it as colligative properties. I repeat, colligative properties. Now, if we have to define what are colligative properties, properties of a solution which changes, or properties of a solution, or physical properties of a solution are not constant. It can vary. Right? Why it varies? It depends on the composition. Take water, put small amount of salt into it, or put small amount of sugar into that. Find out what is boiling point, freezing point, vapor pressure. Fine. Put little more amount of salt, repeat, you will not get the same thing. The reason is its composition is changing. As the composition changes, these properties which you are determining, freezing point, vapor pressure, they keep changing. So, that means properties of a solution which change or which do not remain constant. So, for solutions, physical constants are not constant. For elements and compounds, physical constants are constant. Right? That is colligative properties. Keep this in mind. After some days, if somebody asks what are colligative properties, right? Don't think of Colgate properties and don't say that namak hai, chamak hai, carbon hai, they are the properties of what I have, right? So, colligative properties are this, keep it in mind. Next, if you want to talk about a liquid or a solution which is in liquid state, as I said, we have to find out its vapor pressure, boiling point, freezing point, density. In addition to that, later we will be talking about osmotic pressure, all this. So, if I have to learn all this, first make me understand what is vapor pressure, what is boiling point, what is freezing point. So, if I know this, then of course, at length we can go on talking about how it varies. What is vapor pressure? What is vapor pressure? So, when I take a beaker and put water into that, I don't know why water should remain in the beaker first of all. I take a beaker, pour water in that, why water should remain in that? who is telling that water to remain in the beaker? You will certainly tell, sir, this atmosphere which is telling don't go out, be there. And what do you call that? It is atmospheric pressure. Now, with the time, what will happen? Particles present in the liquid, they will not remain in the liquid only. Right? Last year, as we had already understood in states of matter, some of the particles with great kinetic energy, when they go, they will not care for atmosphere, all that, they will go out. Particle has gone out. Where this particle will go, right? It may go to Wuhan, it may go to Iran, it may go to America, I don't know where it goes. But there is another possibility. Another possibility is this particle which has gone out, it is likely to come back and come back into the same solution or liquid. So, particle which has gone out is likely to come back. And when it comes back, what it will do? It has to hit the surface first. After hitting the surface, later it can go inside. And when it hits the surface, what will happen? The surface, right, is now hit by a particle. When it hits the particle, right now, there is pressure on the surface. That pressure on the surface is because of the particles of the liquid which have gone onto the surface and hitting, that is vapor pressure. Now, if you take this beaker, right, and go to higher altitudes, don't say, sir, can I sit in an aeroplane and go to higher altitude? No, right, in the open space, go to higher altitude. So, as you go to higher altitude, then you will certainly observe that the volume of this liquid is increasing, you are not adding, right, you will see an increase in the volume of the liquid. Okay, go on. So, when you go to further higher altitudes, then afterwards you will see liquid flowing out. Still go. Finally, we have only the container is full, and then afterwards if you come back later, you may have a small volume of liquid in the container. How it has happened? So, as you go to higher altitude, pressure, atmospheric pressure will decrease. As atmospheric pressure decreases, volume of the liquid will increase. The pressure is decreasing, volume is increasing. Last year we have studied this somewhere. What is it? Somebody is saying, yes, it is Boyle's law. What is Boyle's law? Volume is inversely proportional to pressure. So, as the pressure decreases, volume increases. So, as you go to higher altitude. Now, staying at sea level. Now, if you start heating the liquid, what will happen? Particles gain more kinetic energy. More particles will go into the atmosphere. And more particles that have escaped into the atmosphere, most of the particles again will strike back. When they strike back, what will happen? When you heat to a higher temperature, vapor pressure increases. At one time, what the liquid will tell is, or all the particles which have gone into the vapor state will tell, we don't care for the atmospheric pressure. Now, what will happen? At that time, all the liquid wants to go into the free state. All particles want to live freely. And what do you call that? Again, in thermodynamics, what that which you have heard? It is entropy. Entropy increases with increase in temperature. Entropy is measure of disorder. Disorder increases. Here particles are together. Disorder increases. Particles will go. Otherwise, what that which you had understood in Charles' law? Volume is directly proportional to temperature on Kelvin scale. So, as temperature increases, volume increases. As volume increases, particles now have larger surface area to get into the atmospheric, go out into the atmosphere. That means vapor pressure also will increase with increase in the temperature. So, all those laws which we had studied last year, Boyle's law, Charles' law, Gay-Lussac's law, all will help to understand what will happen to the vapor pressure. So, as vapor pressure increases, at some time atmospheric pressure becomes, or vapor pressure becomes equal to atmospheric pressure. And what do we call that? That temperature where there is an equality between these two. That temperature we call it as the boiling point. So, how to define what is boiling point? So, first we understood what is vapor pressure, and afterwards we understood how vapor pressure can become equal to atmospheric pressure. And now, when vapor pressure becomes equal to atmospheric pressure, it happens only at one particular temperature, and when it happens, that we call it as boiling point. So, boiling point is the temperature at which vapor pressure becomes equal to atmospheric pressure. Clear? Next, what are the consequences of this if I take a solution and find out its boiling point? Now, I take a beaker, I take water in that, pure water, have no confusion. It is a solvent for me. Now, into that I will put a solute. Which salt I am going to put, I will not tell. Which solute I am going to put, I will not tell. I will put a solute into it. It will dissolve. This will get converted to solution. Once it gets converted to solution, I will find out its vapor pressure. And now, what will be the vapor pressure of this solution? What is the vapor pressure of this solution? How to tell? So, you may say, sir, just now you explained that vapor pressure will increase, then afterwards it becomes equal to, then that is called boiling point. Fine, I am not denying it. Now, I am not telling which solute I am putting. I will put a solute. Now, if I find out the vapor pressure, do not think that always there is going to be vapor pressure here. My vapor pressure will not be there. So, that means some particles are the particles of solute which are mixed up in the solvent after forming the solution. Those particles are not ready to go into the vapor state. Do not think that always the particles of the solute which have gone into the solution, they will go into the vapor state and cause for vapor pressure and afterwards boiling point on that. Particles of the solute, they may not go. One. Other one, I put the solute. All particles of the solute that you have put, all of them, right, not only solvent particles going, particles of solute, they also say, okay, we will also go into the vapor state. So, that means now I have got two types of solutes. One where the particles of solute which are there or the solute which you have is ready to go into the vapor state, one type of solute for me or one type of substance for me. Other type of substance, particles are not ready to go. So, if the given substance wants to go into the vapor phase, what is that which we say for that? Take for example petrol, kerosene, just hold it for some time, then afterwards you do not see in that, do not see on the phase, that means they have gone into the vapor phase. That means we say it is the given substance is, otherwise it is volatile. Take salt, keep holding, you will continue to hold, but put small amount of kerosene or petrol, after some time it is not there on your hand. Why? Because it has gone into the vapor state. That means that substance is volatile, other substance is non-volatile. So, that means I have got two types of solutes. I have a solution, and when I add a solute to that, I have a solution. What is the property of the solution? One solution has a solute along with that which is volatile. Other one, I have a solution in which the solute is non-volatile. Oh my God, we are thinking about only solutions. In that again two types, solution with volatile solute, solution with non-volatile solute. So, step by step that the complication is increasing, nothing to worry, it is simple, right. Once you learn in sequence, everything is simple. So, we have two types of solutes, one volatile solute, other one non-volatile solute. So, now if I want to find out what are the physical constants of this solution. So, physical constants of this solution now depends on its composition. Depending on the composition means, is it with a volatile solute or is it with a non-volatile solute. So, that means physical constants depend on these two substances. For example, if I want to know what is vapor pressure of the solution with volatile solute, what is vapor pressure of a solution with non-volatile solute, values will be different, properties will be different. So, that means if vapor pressures are different, that means what is that which is further depending on vapor pressure? Just now we talked about vapor pressure, if it becomes equal to atmospheric pressure, that is called boiling point. Boiling point varies or boiling point depends. Boiling point depends on, is it with volatile solute, is it with a non-volatile solute. So, based on, depending on, is it with a volatile solute or non-volatile solute, one of the scientists has clearly made us understand how the volatile solute present, how the non-volatile solute present in the solution account for the variations in the properties, that is physical property, that is vapor pressure, that is clearly described in Raoult's law. So, we have two types of laws, Raoult's law. That means, Raoult's law for a solution containing volatile solute, Raoult's law for a solution containing non-volatile solute. And when I am talking about Raoult's law with volatile solute, Raoult's law with non-volatile solute, again I should know the composition. And while talking about this composition, out of the different concentration terms that we have studied, here I will not make use of all of them. Here I will make use of the dependence of vapor pressure on the mole fraction of these two components present. So, to discuss more about this, wait for tomorrow. Take care, live happily, bye.